The books about humor are very important because it is always been the Jewish tool. When you are weak, humor is your best bet. If you look at humorists all around the world, they're usually Jewish men. Mel Brooks, Woody Allen. Here in England, is it true too that humor is produced by, no? But in America and in Hollywood, it is Jewish men that are very funny. It's usually middle children who find, Woody Allen says that he was trying to cut the tension in the car by being funny. It's been my wish to become funnier. I found that the feminist with a finger like that is not so effective. And that the notion that feminists don't have a sense of humor is not because they don't have a sense of humor. The humor that is produced around them just ain't funny. That's why it's not funny. However, the chauvinist is very funny, and we could make fun of the chauvinist. And here is the power of the written word, and I wanted to give you an example. I was a city councilor in Jerusalem for 14 years. And during that time, the mayor of Jerusalem, he... the mayor of Jerusalem used to call me names. Derogatory names. He called me klafte, yente, kachke, mechashefe. Now he is a sabra from Binyamina, I'm a sabra from Jerusalem, and he's calling me names in Yiddish. What happens when he says that is a lot of laughter from the ultra-Orthodox sector. I didn't like it, and I wanted to fight it. But the way to fight it was through the written word and humor. I took 48 city council meetings. They're all recorded and printed because we say such wise things in the municipality of Jerusalem. Everything has to be documented. And I looked for distinct patterns where the mayor silences women versus how he silences men. I called it nikar b'cha'aso. It says in the Talmud, a man is defined by how he gets angry, by how he gets, how his drinking habits and his philanthropy. In Hebrew it sounds better, koso, kiso, v'cha'aso. So I looked at what he does, and it turns out that he silenced women in various ways. One way is to compliment the woman. He would say, Bracha, you lent respectability to this whole circus here. Thank you for being, Bracha said nothing throughout the time. The more he complimented her for being quiet, the less she spoke. And just you think I'm so smart? During the study itself, I told my daughter Tanya, you know, we took you to the Gerlitz family. We didn't hear a peeps out of you. You were so good. We'll take you next time too. We do it to our own daughters as well. The next thing was a woman in our city council was much older than all of us. Very bright, very accomplished, married to a Supreme Court judge, daughter of a Supreme Court judge. And she used to say about herself, I'm a stupid, silly girl. I'm senile. I don't remember what we're talking about. She would say self-deprecatory things. She spoke the most. See, the dynamic was that the mayor would interrupt the woman, and then all 8 deputy mayors would interrupt her more. Women, as a result, were interrupted 7 times more than men. But when she said, I'm stupid and silly, what would the mayor say? Ani tipsha v'senilit. No, you're not. That's what the mayor said. No, Michal, you're not. And he would allow her to speak. So self-deprecation allowed her to speak on the average 18 lines without interpretation, without interruption. My record was 3 lines. 18 lines she would speak by saying bad things about herself. Nurit Yardeni Levy from Labor had a very high-pitched voice. When she spoke, the mayor would say, מה זה הצרצור הזה? מה את מקרקרת? מה אתה מגול הודו? What are you, a turkey? What is this hysteria? What is this screaming? He would make comments about the sound of the voice. Just want you to know, men also make sounds, but there were no such comments about men's voices. I can show a direct relation between the 98 comments about her voice, the fact that she spoke less and less, and the fact that she wasn't re-elected to a second term. And then there was me with, as I told you, Yente, Klafte, Mechashefe, and Kachke. And No man was called a Yingale or a Shegetz or none of that. I publicized it in all the Israeli papers. I sent a copy to his wife. I sent a copy to every member of his party. And after that, there was nothing to document. He would say things like, if I say what I think, this one's going to start writing it down, so you figure it out. I don't think he was aware of this pattern, these patterns, and he stopped doing it. So the meticulous documentation of wrongdoing and making fun of the bully is a very effective political tool. Many are told you don't have a sense of humor. There's always one in our family that she's the funny one or he's the funny one, and we don't have it. And in fact, studies show that people say that when they're asked who has humor, they think 90% of the population does not have a sense of humor, and I do. So humor is that property that I have and you don't. So let me tell you, humor is learned. Humor is a learned skill. And if you expose yourself to jokes and humor, you will become funnier. And if you become funnier, you will be able to lower resistances and be able to pass on a message that sometimes is hard to digest. So all of us who go like that, you should think there is a more effective way if you have some humorous books right next to your bed. That's why humor got into my room. Cooking. Cookbooks are, well, altogether, I'm honored that that you reminded me of that wonderful roast beef. That was really superb. I want you to know I have closed more political deals around the dinner table than anywhere else because I have a harsh, shrill voice demanding verbally things. But then I give your body such a wonderful experience. You have to say yes, especially with the male gender persuasion. I apologize. What works is a variation on mother's milk, be it potato puree, or bread pudding, or porridge, anything whitish and body temperature and nice. Try it. So I'm inspired by cookbooks. And I will invite you to dinner, and I will get you to vote my way. And you will leave dinner and you'll say, why did I say yes? And I can tell you, it was in the menu. It was just wonderful food. And the last is Jewish books, and I put Amos Oz as #1 in my Jewish books, even though he calls himself a non-Jewish, non-religious writer. Amos Oz is a category of its own. You would be blessed if next year you'll be able to bring this man. Hopefully by then he will have the Nobel Prize for the masterpiece of story of love and darkness. Could you raise your hand if you have not read it? Lucky you. You are up for such a treat. The best book written in Israel in a long, long time. Really, story of love and darkness grabs you and you cry with him when his mother dies. And you cry with him in this special chapter. I think you should, it's a must read on Yom HaAtzmaut, the night that his father announces to him that Israel is born. He says, it was the first time I saw my father weep. Actually, I didn't see him. My left hand saw. It's the most moving chapter, and I take Israel for granted, and I do take Israel for granted. When you guys tell me, a woman said to me yesterday, that her a life-changing moment in Israel was she boarded a bus and she realized that everyone on the bus, including the driver, was Jewish. Duh. Or a friend asked me, now that I am on the web looking for a mate, she asked me, so are you on JDate? I say, no, in Israel, it's all Jewish. Oh, they're all Jewish on these websites. You don't need JDate. You understand? So I am saying that when a money changer gives you a change for 100 sterling on a Friday, he will say Shabbat Shalom. What else would a money changer say on a Friday? And I know you are moved to tears. The money changer said Shabbat Shalom. the money changer is Jewish. Of course he'll say Shabbat Shalom. So I'm saying that I take Israel for granted. And this chapter reminds me what a historic adventure I'm part of, to be fighting for the values that navigate the Jewish state. So I read the Amos Oz and get inspired. I am very lucky that I can actually pick up the phone and call Amos and talk to him. He thinks the world of our organization of fighting for religious pluralism in Israel. And he says if he were religious, he would probably be a Reform Jew, liberal Jew, same in Israel. Another book that inspires me is are there Israelis here? Yofi, Dira Lehaskil, one of the oldest books in Israel, written 60 years ago by Leah Goldberg and illustrated by Shmuley Katz, who unfortunately died last year. It's a book about, it's maybe the first book about pluralism in Israel. It's about a building that has 5 stories, and on the top floor, a mouse used to live, but the mouse left, and now the 4 lodgers are looking for a new person to move in, a new animal to move in. First comes the pig, and he says, I'm a white pig, I can't live with black cat. Then comes the bunny rabbit, and she says, I'm a mother of 18 babies, and I can't live with a cuckoo bird that she leaves her babies. And so on, the animals come and they don't want to live on the 5th floor. And then comes the dove, and they say to her, do you like our building? She says, no, I don't like the corridor, I don't like the kitchen, the rooms are much too dark, so won't you live with us? And she says, Eshev ve'eshev, the Israelis are with me on that, Eshev ve'eshev bechefetz lev, I would love to live with you because I love the neighbors. Hashchenim tovim be'enai, I love the neighbors is our new campaign against racism. Here is Hashchenim tovim be'enai in Hebrew and in Arabic. The lettering is from Dira Lehaskil, the daughter of Shmuley Katz that makes $1 billion out of selling his special lettering, gave it to us for free, because the campaign against racism that is produced by Israeli rabbis against Arab minority in Israel, is something she wanted to fight. So if you want a sticker of Dira Lehaskil, of fighting against racism, it is yours. This is the report on all the segregation in Israel, the police station, the health clinics, the post office, and the various government seminars where women are assigned to the back and men in the front. If you want to get it, you can find it on our website. I have some flyers here. And also, at the end, you can also write me your address, your email address, and I will send you a newsletter. If I upset you so far, I can upset you again next week and every week with more stuff of what we do to fight for pluralism in Israel. I wanted to end with some, before the questions, with some words in Hebrew that are very important.